The pace of change for businesses has sped up relentlessly. Back in 1980, a static, vertically integrated silo with humans in a company doing the same job year in, year out was a pretty good way of doing business. But think of the most successful businesses in the modern marketplace. Static? They are anything but. Many of the operations we think of as the most successful today are not even single companies in the traditional sense. They are business ecosystems. Take a food delivery app as an example. Every day they will be handling the purchase and delivery of millions of meals, but they might not employ a single cook or delivery driver. Instead, they are orchestrating the services of thousands of different businesses to deliver what seems to the customer like a seamless, efficient service. This is not a silo. It is an ecosystem.
I define an ecosystem as a collaborative arrangement whereby a group of companies collaborate to produce a common outcome by supplying complementary components. An ecosystem is a relatively new approach to business architecture. It's been around for about 10 years, and that's primarily due to progress in digital. It's not a panacea. There are still perfectly good cases for organizing as an individual company, a vertically integrated company, a vertically integrated value chain, or just a marketplace. But the thing about an ecosystem is that it's extremely dynamic. It can adapt to changing circumstances. It can manage extremely high complexity. And also it can scale very quickly because essentially it's modular. You're incorporating the assets and the capabilities of other companies on a dynamic basis. So when it works phenomenally well compared to traditional companies. An ecosystem requires a very distinct set of leadership competencies that result directly from the special structure of an ecosystem. So for one thing, the unit of analysis is much larger, so you need an extended voice. You need a way of speaking to a very large and disparate set of players. Secondly, you need to be a very good persuader because you don't own the different components of the ecosystem. This all boils down to who would want to join my club, because an ecosystem is a voluntary, dynamic arrangement. And one of the biggest challenges of an ecosystem is why would anyone want to join your consortium as opposed to do it all themselves or join somebody else's consortium? And that consists of the orchestrator, the central player in the ecosystem, has something compelling that you don't have, some compelling value. It might be owning a brand with tremendous reach. It might be the direct relationship to consumers. It might be access to vital information. But there has to be a reason to join a particular club. And then something which is rather tricky is that an ecosystem is both simultaneously collaborative and competitive, but you cannot compete too fiercely with the players in your ecosystem. Otherwise, they will leave you. They'll become your business adversaries.
Business ecosystems are not a new invention, but the last decade has seen them rise to dominance. Why? The digital revolution.
A digital technology vastly improves the economics and effectiveness of ecosystems. How? One, because all of these subtle and complicated tasks which need coordinating that can now be automated on a so-called multi-sided marketplace, a digital platform. The things which used to have to be managed with human judgment can now be managed to a large extent by algorithms. And also the transaction costs of a digital platform are very low. It doesn't require a conversation, an email, a letter. The marketplace is self-adjusting at a very low cost. And so this is why ecosystems were historically known, but they've really boomed and taken off. There is currently an obsession with ecosystems, but there is a really substantive phenomena here, which is that we have increasingly complicated challenges because we have increasingly flexible means of managing businesses. So the fact that we can compete at the speed of digital communication means that we will. The fact that we can coordinate globally between heterogeneous entities means that somebody will, and therefore that becomes part of the challenge. So it's both the case that we can attack traditionally complex problems like how to manage a healthcare system effectively with digital ecosystems, as well as we need to, because we're running out of resources to run things a traditional way, as well as having no choice in the sense because our competitors will probably make those moves if we don't. So you add all of that together and essentially you have this sort of virtuous cycle of the application and the evolution of ecosystems so that they've sort of become the norm in many aspects of business. But digital ecosystems hold tremendous potential for healthcare. Why is that? Well, the things that make the application of an ecosystem relevant, one of them is tremendous dynamism. Things are constantly changing. The other one is very big frictions or problems to solve. So for instance, the cost of insurance, the cost of administration. Another one is a very complex matching exercise involving the skills and capabilities and services of very heterogeneous players. And we have all of those in spades in healthcare. So I think there's great potential in healthcare. Exactly how remains to be figured out.